North for cheap booze. The South introduced minimum pricing. All that and more to come tonight on Irish Whiskey Review Live.
You're like Trevor McDonald, then negative, Justin. You're like Trevor McDonald, negative.
All right. Thanks very much.
Well, how are we, guys? We're all right.
All good. All good.
Good.
I'm planning my next trip up north.
Oh,
I wonder why. I wonder why.
Get yourself a trailer.
I need a trailer or a big van. One or the other.
And an order book. Yeah. We'll be talking about this in a minute or two.
No, it's all for my own consumption, isn't it? All all for your own consumption, isn't it?
Sure, it stop you at the border now anyway, so it's a great job.
You thought that one out well, didn't they?
No, not really. No, they never really do. But sure.
Can I do like Poland and have like a sort of like hose pipe across?
You wouldn't be the first boy to do that. Sure, was it not done with the diesel? Do you remember the diesel taxes?
Yeah, in one side of the farm and out the other. Oh, I tell you, this is good. This is good.
Mad as ours. No, so last week I couldn't. I was in the middle of Arizona somewhere, some wee town in Arizona. So whenever I tried to talk, the place just went a bit nuts because I was on a bit of a road tour. I'd done 2,000 miles in the car, and everywhere I went, it rained. I went to Grand Canyon, it snowed. I went to Las Vegas and it rained, and I went to Phoenix and it rained. So basically, if anybody from Northern Ireland, Ballymena going anywhere, just be prepared. Always take a raincoat with you. I thought it would be smart and not bother, but I got soaked in Las Vegas. Ta-da!
Well, lovely stuff. Carl's on the show tonight. We're doing Whiskey Detox. Remember to comment, like, and share. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitch for this season. Finally, sorted the gremlins. We're on Twitch live as well. Make sure you do all you need to do on Twitch. You can feel free to rate us, whatever that is, in Twitch. I'm sure, Carl, you can help us out because you're our resident internet expert. We're talking to Carl in about 20 minutes' time, all about the whiskey auctions and the fantastic results from Redbreast to Jameson 21. So stick around for Carl. He's on the way. And then we'll be doing a detox tonight, Marty. What's all that about?
I'm on the water, Justin. You think it was no alcohol? Simple alcohol. They'll be discussed later.
All right. Catch you later on, Carl. Stay there for us. Here we go with the news. Hello. Oh boy.
Yeah.
What's first tonight, Marty?
Well, we can't really not talk about the new law that's come in the Republic, the minimum alcohol pricing in the Republic of Ireland. This follows on from what they did in Scotland back in a few years ago, in 2018. And from this graphic, now would be the time to buy into a distillery, or not a distillery, an off license in and around the Newry, Derry area, anywhere across the border, because they've brought in a minimum price. Now, that started on the 4th of January. Like most of these things, it's not expensive now. It doesn't make a huge difference to some stuff. There's to some others. But it means that a shop has to charge a minimum price for a bottle of whiskey, for example. Okay, this is a graphic that shows you the jump in price. Now, the one obviously that we'd be most interested in is Jameson down here. Jumped from €15 a bottle, €15 a bottle, to €22.09, which is the minimum price a bottle of whiskey now has to be sold for in the Republic of Ireland.
That's over 25%.
Yeah. Now, what it is it's based on the amount of alcohol. So there's going to be a 10-cent charge for every gram of alcohol. That's how it's worked out. As I say, it follows the Scottish policy back in 2018, where the minimum price was 50 pence per unit of alcohol. Now, I remember this when it was brought in, and basically, you know, the super strength cans of lager, they all shot up through the roof, and you had all these very weird things like bottles of Buckfast being sold for more than like decent bottles of Burgundy and stuff. You know, it was very weird. It's just sort of nuts. Now, instinctively, you kind of think, well, it's going to discourage people from drinking alcohol. Yeah, well, that probably is.
I'm sorry, but Marty, I've just noticed there's a stalwart there. 24 cans of Budweiser has gone up from €15 to €40.80.
Yeah, it's just sort of crazy, to be honest. Now, like all of these taxes, the people who are wealthy, this doesn't affect them because they're saying that, oh no, they're okay. They are very sensible in their drinking habits. The middle classes, it'll not really affect them. It's really just the people at the bottom. It's, again, like we were talking about earlier, it's basically a tax on the poor. That's the way I would look at it.
Well, it is. What do you make of that, Peter? There's Peter Stewart's in tonight, Patrick Murphy's in tonight. What do you make of that? That's a rough show, that is.
No, just because in Scotland they've had this for a few years now, so they're able to collect data. And the Public Health Scotland found that the policy had little or no effect on alcohol-related crimes. There was, however, a significant drop in alcohol sales in Scotland, 8%. However, alcohol sales in the north of England went up. So basically in the bottom, once you go over the border, people just went over the border and bought stuff cheaper there, as they're going to. Now, this is the one thing, this is a very sort of significant fact. There was a significant drop in the number of alcohol-related deaths, 10%, which is always to be congratulated, of course. But Scotland has the highest record of drug-related deaths. There's no real difference. People were just moving from, they were abusing this, they were going on to abuse something else. I can't really see how this is going to work. I really don't.
Well, there's Trevor Young saying them boys in the border area will be moving from fuel smuggling to poaching manufacture. That looks like a poaching flagon you're drinking from there, Marty, but it's just water.
It's actually water for a change. But no, put it like this. The Babylonian king Hammurabi, 1700 something BC, brought in a price for alcohol, right? They've been doing this for what, 4,000 years now, and people still drink. You know, I mean, it's just, it doesn't really work. People just find a way around these punitive taxes, and if they're moving from, every one of these is a terrible thing, but people who are drinking at least sort of clean, manufactured, bought from a shop that's at least taxed and there's something, going over and having a drink of that. If they're abusing it, they're abusing it. Though if they're not doing that, they'll move to something else.
Well, look at this
unless
here.
They can quit.
Tony Sillett says in Wales, Buds, it's 16 for 20 bottles, but in England, it's 11 quid for 24 bottles.
Yeah. There's a reason for that. He says that you can't get 24 bottles. That must be a thing in Wales. You can't get 24 bottles. So it's more expensive to put, because you have to put it in 20s to send it over. It's more expensive for the packaging and stuff, because you have to pay people to change all the settings and so on. It becomes more expensive. So people just go to England.
But the states where you are have this between the states as well. They have that between the states as well, don't they?
Well, the thing is, if you go down into one of the liquor stores, we call them off-license, but liquor stores here, there's a huge array of American whiskies, because until very recently, you could only sell in 750 milliliter bottles. So a lot of the Scottish producers didn't produce in 750 ml bottles. So there's not a huge, some of the off-licenses here are just enormous, as you can imagine. So there's not a massive selection of Scotch, which is somewhat surprising, because it wasn't an official thing. Now they've changed that, so I would expect to see a slew of Scotch hitting the US. But here, pull up that.
Now we've got a spreadsheet here that tells us about it.
And this is the minimum price that can be charged for for bottles of stuff for alcohol. So a bottle of whiskey minimum price has to be €22.09. Vodka €20.71 because it's a lower ABV. Wine €7.40. To be fair, if you're drinking wine at €7.40, well, you need to have a look at yourself, I think. But I mean, the price of this stuff just goes through the roof in some ways, you know. It is what it is at the minute. But put it like this: once these come in, they normally never, ever, ever go down. And all they look at is they say, "Oh, it's not having a huge effect. What we need to do is increase the price." There's already talk of them increasing in Scotland from 50p per unit to 60p, 65p a unit, and just putting it up and up and up. And all they do is create people heading to England or people going to France. I mean, that's what they did years ago. They used to do the booze cruises to France. So it doesn't really work.
I did them a couple of times myself. Most enjoyable weekends away, I can tell you that much.
The most enjoyable weekends back again, I would have thought, was probably the most.
Well, there you go. Listen, what's next tonight?
Well, that's the bad news. The good news for Irish whiskey is that a couple of weeks ago, you've jumped. See, Justin, you jumped too fast. You jumped too fast.
Too fast.
No, the good news is that the sales from the Statistics Office show that the sales are at an all-time high. Now, sales in 2020 dropped 6%, but they've bounced back again. Sales in India, I noticed that sales in India are up 106%. Starting from a small place, but heading up fine. Overall sales are expected to top 13 million cases for the first time ever. But there's a caveat to this, because there was a lot of stuff put out with the about the good news. The Irish Whiskey Association put a little bit on the side of this and the back of this. And what they said was that there's a lot of consolidation going on. There's increasingly consolidation. And some of the smaller operators are going to struggle. And I've said this before. Some of the smaller guys are where do they go? It'll be interesting to see. Now, hopefully, none of them, God forbid, any of them experience closure. But you could see that some of the people, bigger guys coming in, taking them over, letting them stay doing what they're doing, and just sort of amalgamating some of the stuff.
Right, I'm with you. Okay, there's Peter Cabreath has come in with Redbreast 12 is £40 in the north, €65 in the south, worth the trip to Newry. And Mark Diamond says, in Banbridge, close to the border, has cats from the south lining up in the shops. Oh no, he meant cars. I
was sitting there thinking, what? And then I thought, oh no, it must be spell check.
Yeah.
Autocorrect.
RT, cars. Yeah. Now here's a point Stacey McAllister brought up. Do you know the way the sugar tax? So if you lowered the sugar, you didn't get taxed.
Yeah.
So only pure normal Coke or classic Coke or whatever it's called in the States is the one that's gone up. Everything else is down, and a lot of the other products have gone zero sugar or that. Stacey says, if you lowered the ABV, does this affect the minimum cost?
It would. If you lower the ABV of a product, then the minimum price comes down because it's based on 10 cents per gram of alcohol. But Stacey, the problem is if you lower a spirit below 40%, it's no longer whiskey. So you can't have whiskey has to be that price. That's why it brought up that graphic that basically told you the minimum prices for various substances, because whiskey has to be 40% by law. If it drops below that, it's not whiskey. So, yeah.
See what you mean? 40%. Yeah, you've got it.
There's your ABVs. So it has to be that. So basically, that's where they're going to get you. They're the higher. I mean, let's be honest. Irish whiskey prices, none of them's going to be at that price. Over here, you might get them for that price. You'll not get them back home because the price of Irish whiskey's a bit silly at the minute. But as I say, these taxes very seldom ever get wiped out. They normally just go boom, boom, boom. The only one that ever really got wiped out was gambling taxes. And look what's happened there. And they really, really won't want to see that happening in terms of alcohol. Gambling to me is probably as dangerous as alcohol in many ways.
Probably is. Ruins more lives. Frank Hearn says it's hard to beat a wee booze cruise to France. We may be going on a wee booze cruise with you, Frank, but that's another story.
You would never know.
But you would never know. Keep
once we get back, we'll get back.
Tony Sillett saying there's 3 miles difference between one Asda and Queensferry Wales and an Asda and Salty in Wales. Same company, but 40% uplift. Yeah, it's funny that.
This is the thing. In the Republic, this minimum price doesn't go on tax. It goes straight to the retailer. Now, so when you're in Tesco's or Asda, other shopping centres are available if you should desire. You go in. This money's not going in tax to help alcoholism or help combat, any of this kind of thing. No, straight into so go and shop in the local guy. Go and shop in the independent guy.
Well, they could be doing it to get people to go back to pubs. They could be doing it to get people to go back to pubs, couldn't they?
Well, Justin, if they're doing that, then they really need to have a look at what they've been doing in the hospitality industry during COVID. Because we're going to open. No, we're just going to close again. We're going to do this. No, I mean,
it might make people go back to
ridiculous.
Might be.
Totally, guys.
I don't know what this says, but it's probably nice. If you're watching YouTube, say hello. Vom Red. This could be something innocuous. It could be some hello from wherever. It could be some con. I don't know because I can't understand it. I'm sorry about that. We have a thing in this show, and it's called "Speak English or Die." We don't really mean that. We don't really mean that because I think the subtitles do come up, especially in German later on for German viewers. But obviously, if somebody wants to click the right button or whatever and listen to it in their own language, fair enough, welcome along. But Google Translate it so as I don't have to look it up later on and work it out because we get that many questions and mentions. I sometimes can't get through them all, folks. So welcome along. If you're watching, is that Russian or Greek? Is that Russian or Greek alphabet?
Looks Russian to me. Looks Cyrillic.
Yeah, might be because it was Christmas again in Orthodox countries in Eastern Europe and Middle and Eastern Europe. It's a bit like America. They do Thanksgiving and Christmas. They do it twice. Me, I just do Christmas twice. So what have we got? William McLennan saying are you doing dry January? Marty on water, Justin and orange. We're detoxing. This is what it's all about tonight, William. We're detoxing. And we're even going to do a coffee special just before you reopen, just so as you know. Stacey McAllister was thinking, I was thinking more of other spirits, but thanks for clarifying. Yeah.
Well, put it like this, it's all based on the amount of alcohol in the product. So the less alcohol, the less price. But there's legal requirements for certain spirits and so on. Yeah.
It's really only targeted at the cheap end, then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And let's be honest, the cheap end isn't going to affect the middle class drinker. And I mean, not to cast aspersions on anybody with any problems of anything. It's not just poor working class people who drink vast amounts of alcohol too much. This happens all levels of society. And I'm speaking as someone who has seen this firsthand.
Yeah, look at Churchill. He even had a prescription to go to the States, didn't he?
Yeah. That was basically why all these pharmacists over here.
This is a hot topic tonight. We'll stick with this a while. Carl is saying Dutch Gold cans 4 for £5, 4%, and they just brought out new 3.5% cans, £4 now, €5. Yeah. And there's people at it. There's people know how to get around it or make it look like they're getting around it or make it look like there's more better value. But good point.
I've seen stuff on here all week about guys going and they talk about going to buy a slab of beer, a case of beer, and the price of it's basically doubled. And they're like, what? And it all goes straight to the retailer. You know what I mean? It's just minimum alcohol pricing. That's just nuts. You know.
There you go. Trevor Young is saying, we predicted this all a couple of years ago. Northern Ireland were for Republic of Ireland, Scotland. Here in sunny southern Spain, we moved a couple of years ago. The price of beer, wine and spirits, well, it's a third price in bars, half in supermarket, and in the country towns, cheaper again. Yes, this happened to me in Portugal. Somebody said before the recession there, a bottle of Super Bock or whatever was €5 at some places, right? And I went into a 5-star hotel and it was expensive. And I'm not joking you. The guy told me, you see across that bridge there where I live, you'll get a bottle for less than €1. same thing.
Yeah.
And let's face it, who's not going to go and drink in the local taverna rather than some soulless 5-star hotel? Exactly. Good point. Good point.
Well, the thing about it is, there's been such repressive stuff on pubs and clubs and so on and so forth for years now. For years. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I used to be a very heavy smoker. I used to smoke 30 cigarettes a day. I gave it up about 12 years ago, something like that. I mean, they brought in the smoking ban, which was on the whole probably a good thing. But the way it's brought in, when you bring in these absolutist laws, there was ways that could have been made much easier for people. I mean, during COVID, they weren't allowed people inside, so some of the restaurants set up stuff outside, but because of the non-smoking, they weren't allowed to put hoarding up on the side of the thing. It had to have a certain thing. So it's just crazy. I mean, they've been at this and at this and at this. The guys then went, when the smoking ban, a lot of them started buying, it was the same time as the supermarkets started selling lots of cheap booze. And as cheap as possible, a lot of it was high, I mean, not good quality stuff. I mean, we know who the target market was for them, let's be honest. I mean, it's sad to say, but it's true. And these guys were drinking at home. And they were drinking vast quantities of stuff at home. There was no one keeping an eye on them. There's nobody keeping an eye on these people. If you head into a bar, at least the barman's there. You know who it is. You know, I know a barman who not that long ago said to a guy, "Listen, you're drinking too much. I'm not serve." He wouldn't even serve him tins. And he says, "You need to go and keep yourself right." And the guy took his advice, and he did. He was just drinking too much, and that's the difference between somebody and a barman or something and a supermarket. You just go in and buy what you want day after day. You know, it's anyway.
There you go. Mark Kerr says smart retailers. Well, buy slab of beer, get 10% off groceries. That's smart. That would be smart. That would be smart. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that.
There's ways and means. There's ways and means. That's a good idea. Dry January, no drink January dry. Yeah. Let me see. We had it confirmed that that's a scam. So there you go.
Okay, good.
Can we download that minimum price graphic from YouTube description?
Yeah, we'll post it up. Post it up on Facebook.
We'll post that up on Facebook. I can do it now. Actually, I can do it now for you. Eric Van de End is saying evening to you as well. Evening all. Remember to comment, like, and share if your friends are watching. What's next in the news tonight, Marty?
Well, you've already spoiled the surprise. You've put forward the graphic too quick.
I know.
It's yesterday. Powers Court Distillery officially announced the departure of their founding master distiller, Noel Sweeney. This has been going about. I mean, anybody who's on social media hears the news long before anybody else does. For anyone who's not sure who Noel is, he was the former master distiller at Cooley. And loads of people might not know what Cooley Distillery is. In my opinion, Dr. John Teeling taking over Cooley was really what led to the renaissance of Irish whiskey. There's loads of other factors, but without them it wouldn't have happened. And the fact they licensed to other people. There was new brands they were the first really to bring back old brands. So Tyrconnell, they brought back Kilbeggan, Connemara, all of this kind of stuff. So all these brands are all Cooley. They sell to loads of other people. Dunville's, for example. Now, anyone who's tasted Dunville Spirit knows just how good Cooley Spirit is, and it's all really thanks to Noel Sweeney. When he moved to Powers Court after 27 years, let me check that. 27 years he moved down there. So he was with them for 5 years, and he's really seen it coming on to being award-winning, very well regarded, etc., etc. So it's good on him. Award-winning distiller who's moving on. We don't know where. One thing I have noticed, this is a few times now that some of the stalwarts, the old guard of Irish whiskey have stepped away. Now, we've lost Noel Sweeney. We don't know where he's going. Brian Nations went to the States. Helen Mulholland, the mystery of what happened and where she's going or what's happened there, because Bushmills haven't really said a huge amount about it. I'm sure we'll find out. We'll find out in due course what's happened there. But these guys knocking it in the head, maybe moving on somewhere else. Who knows? But good luck to him, whatever it is he decides to do.
That's good to see. That's good to see down there. I mean, it's a beautiful part of the country, just past the Dargle again.
It's lovely. Pars Court's gorgeous place.
Yeah, and they redid the house too as well. Beautiful stuff.
One interesting thing: it's the Pars Court distillery, but they couldn't call it Pars Court whiskey because Pars whiskey decided no, you guys too close to our name, so that's why it's called Fercullen. Because I think that was the old name for the estate or whatever it was, the old name for the townland or something like that. Whatever it was, I can't remember, but that's what it was.
Very good. Very good. Lovely stuff. So where are we heading? Oh, well, that's Pars Court. That's the distillery. Oh, look at that there.
Now, this is a celebrity whiskey. Seems to be about the only way you get whiskies lodged these days.
Not another one, Marty. For God's sake, not another one.
We're going to do a special of this one of these days. Now, half the market seems to be celebrity whiskey. Now, anyone who's not familiar, this is Dustin Poirier. I hope we pronounced that right. I never sure because they pronounce these things different sometimes. And he's a UFC fighter who has beat Conor McGregor twice. So he has brought out rare stash bourbon. Now it says that it's world class and collectible. Now it's a blend of bourbons. It costs $100, but there's optional extras with it. When you go to buy it,
I'm interested in the optional extras, aren't you?
You can buy glasses, a wee drawstring bag, and you can buy whiskey stones at $45 for these. But
lovely. Oh.
The one thing about it, there's whiskey stones. Hello, whiskey stones.
Lovely.
Now, whiskey stones. You can buy them as an optional extra. Now, look, bring up the photo of him holding the bottle again.
All right, I want to bring it up full screen. Hello, right?
Bring it up full screen.
Right, I'm going to zoom in. So look very carefully.
Now you see it there? No problem. Now you bring up a photo of him just standing normally. I think they photoshopped his ears because those ears. Please don't. I don't want to say to him in case he's lurking about here somewhere and hammers the head off me. But he's got very much wrestler's ears. So yeah, he's brought out this whiskey.
I'm not being funny, but you know, I'm not vain, but I probably think this song is about me. You can pay $3,000 to $5,000 and you can get your ears done, and you can get beautiful ears like mine. Now mine are natural, right? But you can get beautiful ones done that are not natural. All right.
I see people get into the plastic surgeon's catalog. Can I have Justin's ears? Oh yes. Oh, nice selection. Thanks very much. Can be ears like Justin's. No. Yeah. Anyway, but no, I think they photoshopped his ears. But he's fought Conor McGregor 3 times. McGregor won the first time, and then he won the next 2. But today there's been an announcement. Celebrity to end all celebrities. Now, Justin, don't say a word because today is the King's birthday. Okay. And they've brought out 2 whiskies to celebrate the King. Right. What more do you want? A Tennessee whiskey and an Indiana rye. Now,
all right.
This is obviously it's Elvis. Tennessee whiskey and a rye celebrate. It's his 87th birthday today. Okay. Officially licensed. You can buy both of them for $99.99. For the 2 of them. Now they only ship within the US, so it's only for our US listeners. I might get myself the 2 bottles just
because you're a big fan of the King, aren't you?
Just how can you not be? He's
I don't like him. I preferred Larry King, and he's dead now.
Well, it's 45% ABV, and they come in a 750ml bottle. So in the Republic, it probably cost you about £75 each.
or an arm and a leg, or maybe the cost of getting your ears done, or something like that. There, you know. Funny enough. There's Peter nipping back to that last one. Him and Conor have fought several times. Yeah, that's right. They have. Yeah,
3 times. They fought 3 times. So now they can buy these online. But I mean, would have been Elvis's 87th birthday today. So you can buy 2, but I might just buy them just to have them. and smuggle them back and surreptitiously, hopefully not get caught and have to pay lots of tax.
All right.
At least that would go with the tax. It would just go in the pocket. That might just go in the pocket of the security guard. But yeah, so you can buy a couple of bottles. I sent you another picture of Elvis.
Yeah, I know. I'll put it up.
Cool
There you go. There you go.
From the '68 comeback.
And this is what I think of Elvis.
No. No. He's just awesome.
Elvis has left the building. There he has. He's away. There we go.
Now we're going to Thailand, where you can see a picture. It's on screen there. 3 monks, described as senior experienced monks, were caught drinking alcohol by the area law enforcement at a temple in Kampangayat. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. On New Year's Day, a team of officers from the district office went to a temple in the Na Borkum sub-district after they were notified by local residents who were concerned that a group of monks was drinking alcohol and partying for New Year's. Now, this is against the monks' rules of conduct. Now, no alcohol bottles were found, but the odour of alcohol was, according to the officers, strong in the air. A monk named only as Arpat, who appeared to be highly intoxicated, according to law enforcement officers, first denied having drank any alcohol, but after some time in discussion with authorities, reportedly admitted to doing so. Right now, what his excuse was, we don't usually drink only at festivals. Now, apparently that's not allowed under Thai authorities. We were drinking local whiskey from local residents who wanted us to give the spirits to their ancestors as a blessing.
Right. And there's a reclining Buddha. There's a reclining Buddha proving the fact that even Buddha was maybe inebriated. You know. By the way, this isn't blasphemy; it's comedy. Just so you know, we've actually seen the Thai royal family, haven't we? We've seen the Thai royal family.
We saw the Queen of Thailand. Yes, we did when we were in London just. And we saw the amount of ball licking that there was going on just outside that Chinese restaurant there.
Yeah,
near
they thought we were assassins too, as well, didn't they?
The amount of running up and down that, but the concierge had to make sure there's nobody in the road was unbelievable. It was dead funny. But no, that's how you'd want to be treated if you're going anywhere, you know, standing about round. But the Buddhist monks said that they were drinking in order to pass the alcohol on to their ancient ancestors. So if anybody's got I've only got water here, so anybody's on the booze tonight, you can send it up to your great granny and say, cheers, this one's for you, and hopefully she'll have a good time in heaven.
Well, some people do that. Now we've got really good news tonight because cars waiting in the wings. We've a lot to get through. We might overrun tonight, actually, I think. So stick with us. Remember to comment, like, and share. Share it on YouTube. Hit subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on LinkedIn. And if you're watching us on Twitch, give us a tick. All right? All right. Now, really good news.
Okay. Carl. Where is he?
Oh, no, you had to do one more story there. You had to do one more story.
Oh, sorry. Really good news from local. You'll like this, Carl. You're a football fan. Irish Cup final is now being sponsored by Samuel Gelson's. And I know that you're obviously on tender hooks. Ballymena won 2-0 today. They beat Loughgall. Come on. Just in case you're on tender hooks and hadn't seen it, but Samuel Gelson's are sponsoring the Irish Cup. So good on them. It's nice to see, by the way, because it's nice. Everybody talks about whiskey doing this and out sales and all, but whenever they're sponsoring stuff and actually putting themselves out there while they're legally allowed, obviously, and saying we're contributing to this, and it's good advertising, it's goodwill, and they get publicity for doing it. So good on them. Good on them.
Right, Carl. There's been some moving and shaking over Christmas in the auction market, hasn't there? There's weird stuff going on.
Yes, and I liked your little callback to Elvis there with the moving and shaking. Yeah, so over the last month, €7.5 million in sales from all the different auction sites that we had around. There's still a couple of auctions in progress. A lot of them took Christmas and New Year's an opportunity to extend their auctions.
Yeah, so, Whiskey Auctioneer, it's not finishing till Monday, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So there's still something in. nice lights on by now.
Yeah, it is. It's just a sound effect. He's on a movie set, really. You know, he's starring as Jason Statham's sidekick there, actually, in Break for the Border. You know, Break for the Border.
To the side would be more like.
There you go. There's the graphics for it. Look at that there. Break for the Border. Look at that.
Only in Texas. But,
only in Texas. Now, what do you want to talk about first tonight?
So first I wanted to talk about whiskey sets. So there's a lot of questions online about whether if they have a set of whiskey or like a collection, should they sell it as a collection or should they sell it separately? So the first image that I took was from Irish Whiskey Auctions, and it was a collection that they had for Middleton Very Rare, and it was 2019 to 2021 set. So this is probably one that a lot of people, like people who would have started in the last 2 or 3 years, would have been able to pick these up fairly easily. So some people might find themselves with these bottles. So I just wanted to compare this to the individuals. So in this case, the set went for $12.50. So
it's a nice price.
Yeah, it's quite good. So it's an average of 415 a bottle. So it's not too bad. So then on to the next image, we can look at the individual prices of each bottle. Now, each bottle, they were actually one of the biggest. Sorry, that's the 2009 one.
All right. Sorry, hold on.
So it's one with the graphs in it.
All right, hold on. It's that small when I look at it. That's the red breast. Oh, there it is. There it is. There. Look at that. There. That's it. There, isn't it?
That's the one. So each of them, they were actually some of the biggest seen in all auctions in the last month. So for the 2019, we had 23 sell. The lowest price that they went for is $230, and the highest price is $358. So the average was just over 300. Which is,
but that means, Carl, to me, that people are trying to complete their collection and adding in the ones they don't have, and that's pushing the price up. Yeah,
exactly. So we see generally an increase over time per year. That goes backwards because you have new collectors coming in who want to backfill the collection. They might start in 2021 and they went back and got 2020 and now 2019. So I thought that was interesting. 2020, although it was going for $1,000 when it first showed up on auctions, it has kind of settled around the 650 mark, and the stats back that up, with 14 of them being sold, and the range was 540 to 711. So again, like people often ask, why would you have some that have 700 or 800 in some cases, where others were sold for 500. So it comes down to the auction and the people that are bidding on the auction. Some people pick a specific bottle and they just put their maximum on it, and they never look at it again. So they don't reduce it and they don't change to a different bottle.
Carl, we've had a very good question in, and this one is probably best to you. It says, Mike Riley says, that's one sure way of making sure oh no, sorry, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong question. John Redmond says, it's not the politician. I have seen sets of Dingle fail to reach reserve or sell low. Think selling as individual lots is the way to go.
Absolutely, John. I've seen the same, and to be honest, like the putting a reserve on a set is tough, because you don't really know how many people are out there that require all bottles. So a lot of people, they have to pick and choose which bottles they want. So
the other thing about it is, Carl, there's also not that many people that can shell out 1,200, 1,500, 2,000 euro at a given point. And money's tight, certainly for an awful lot of people for the last few years. So
that's true. But what you're saying, Marty, is basically people need to buy as they go along, so they buy the individual bottles, sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean, And you see this lots of times where people will pay maybe a little bit of a premium so they can buy it individually. So yeah, I think there's a certain cachet. If it's a very rare set, then it's probably worth. If it's a very rare sort of small set, Writer's Tears, for example, is probably a good example where people could probably just buy the whole lot in one go if they're wanting to start. But you couldn't do that 4 or 5 times. You know, there'll be 1 or 2 guys that might be interested in paying that, but they'll not get maximum. Selling it individuals over long term is probably the best way of doing that, I would have thought.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. So yeah, so that was just something that I wanted to kind of touch on. Thought it was interesting. Like, again, going back to what you're saying, there's not many people that would be able to shell out.
No.
It's the same for many bottles. So when you're looking at things that you want to buy with an eye on, you know, it could be potentially resellable. There's a lot of people in the under €1,000 bottle market. But once you go over that, it's very, very limited.
Well, the thing is, people talk about flippers, but it's the flippers that are getting, because what they'll do is they'll buy 3 or 4 sub-1,000 bottles. You know, they'll buy 3 or 4 bottles at your 150 when they come out, or, you know, sell them, flip them, and then buy more expensive stuff to try and complete the collection. I mean, it's lots of people are critical of flippers, and in many ways, I would be myself, but in many ways, they fuel the whole industry. You know, certainly fuel it. You know, they do. There's no way you can get around that. You know.
No, and like even just from those 3 bottles, so the 2019, 2020, and 21, you're talking over 70 bottles just from those 3 releases.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Huge amount, an awful lot.
It is.
What else has caught your eye, Carl?
So then the next one that I wanted to talk about was the Redbreast PX edition. So this one came out not too long ago. I think it was October when it was released, early November. So we've seen it in 3 months worth of auctions. So it's been shown in the last 1 month 42 times. So
42 times in a month.
Yeah. So this was we were told that this was a very limited release. I think the number that was thrown around was 1,500 bottles. Or 2,500 maybe maximum, but it does seem to be showing up a hell of a lot. And I was flying to America in the end of November, and T2 was stacked with 3 shelves, front to back. So yeah, it's
thanks for bringing that back for me, Card. Thanks for bringing that back.
I did buy 2 myself, and I killed them while I was over there, and then I have the other one there. So yeah, it is a really, really nice bottle to drink.
I think the thing about it is probably over time it'll probably increase in value, but people buy them, and then there's just a slew of them appears on the auction sites, and you know the first month they go, and then they drop, and then you know at some point it's probably settle at a couple of €100 a bottle and slowly climb over a period of time, I would have thought.
Yeah,
absolutely. Here's a good question. I bought Deanston 23-year-old for $150 to stash, but the Irish 23-year-old is just too pricey.
Yeah, I mean, aged Irish is
it's just
tough to come by, and it's
when you do see anything at any age now. I mean, it used to be you thought Bushmills 21 was really expensive at £170, £150-ish quid, whatever. Now there's stuff nowhere near that age. It's go for more, and it's just a bit odd because I mean, some of the Teelings ages, decent ages that are really, really quite reasonable.
Yeah, like
don't really sell.
28 came out at 800, was it, or 600? It was very reasonable.
Which in comparison to a lot of Irish whiskies is very reasonable.
Yeah.
Scotch, starting to talk to a Scotchman and ask them brain prices. You
look at a 12-year-old Irish and a 12-year-old Scotch, and it's completely different.
Different ball game, totally different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, well, speaking of old age Irish whiskey, so the next one that I wanted to talk about was the Jameson 21-year-old. so this one just came out in December, early December, and it was an online exclusive from Middleton themselves. There was 2,100 bottles released, and it was all by ballot. So has the makings of being a very lucrative bottle. Now there was a lot of controversy about this when it came out. People were saying it was too expensive. I think it was €315.
And the ballot system, and not sent into the north as well. I think. Yeah.
You buy it in the Republic, get a ship to the Republic, you get a ship to England, Scotland, Wales, but you couldn't get a ship to Northern Ireland. I won the ballot. I had to get it. They wouldn't ship it to me.
It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I mean, I don't understand the reasoning behind it, because there's no border.
What do you do is put it in the post?
Yeah, put it in the post, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It is mad. So I think a lot of people who bought it wanted to get rid of it very quickly, and a lot of people who won the ballot didn't even want to buy it. So I think there is a bit of a stigma to it at the moment, but I think that'll go away in time, and I only see this going up. Even at the moment.
There you go. It says there, Barrel Club members were not happy with the ballot system.
No, and I was one of those.
And they were just right. Just right. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Like the way they handled it wasn't good. You know, sending out a mail to say that they were bringing us something exclusive, and then it was a chance to be in with 50 bottles when there's 500 people.
Yeah, that's like those mobile phone contracts you used to have to win. You know what I mean? Yeah. You didn't win anything. You had to pay for them, but you couldn't get them.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. Madness.
I mean,
madness.
They have 500 people there that are ready to pay, highly engaged consumers, and they say, "Anna, we'll go with everyone else."
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So 315 was the retail, and straight away it went into auctions. So the ones that you see in the graph for December, they were whiskey bitters, and then the ones this month were Irish whiskey auctions. So it was fairly level. Minimum price 317, highest price going for 620, and the average for 417. So either way you look at it, you're still making 100.
I think you see that probably drop a little bit and then climb back up again. You know, I think that's probably the way that would go.
I think so. Yeah, it'll be interesting one to keep an eye on for the next 3 to 6 months. But I'd say even maybe in the summer, September time, that's when you'll see it go up. I'd say you might get 550, 600 bottle on average.
Yeah, I would have thought. I thought so. I think I see it dip and then come back up again fairly quickly. I mean, these aged Jamesons and the old Jamesons don't seem to make a huge amount of massive money for what you consider. The stalwart of Irish whiskey. Jameson, it's by far and away the biggest one, and these ones don't seem to sort of ignite. And this could be the one that sort of kickstarts that collectability. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, going back to what you were saying there, where they're going to record 13 million cases, 7 million of those will be Jameson, 6.5, 7 million. So it's not for lack of brand exposure or brand presence. I think from what you're saying about the aged Jameson, this is the first one I think that was marketed as a limited release. The other ones were the 12-year-old, which was a special reserve, the 18-year-old, which is a constant core range, and then obviously the Bow Street.
So anything limited or scarce, so obviously pushes the collectability and the price up.
People run the bite. People run the bite like mad to try and get it. 47 different accounts all registered to try and get the bottles.
Absolutely.
I thought you were going to say 47 different accounts registered to me. No, I would never do that.
I wouldn't do that. No.
What have we got next? We've got one or two more to go.
So there's two more left. So the next one I wanted to bring up was a very special bottle that has captivated a lot of Bushmill fans. So it's the Bushmilled Causeway 18-year-old Grand Cru collection. Yeah. So
the Chinese bottle.
Yeah.
What was it? There was 550 of these for a nation of 1.5 billion.
It's absolutely madness.
I don't know. Bushmill. I don't get me wrong. I love Bushmills. Everybody knows that I love Bushmills and stuff like that. But sometimes you think, what on earth are you guys doing? What? I mean, the whole Causeway Collection project. I've a lot of problems with the whole thing, but releasing a limited, very, very, very limited amount to to the biggest market in the world. Seems to me a very strange way of doing things, but
it is.
Who am I to criticise Proximo? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And now, to be honest, there's really not a lot of information about this online.
Yeah.
I've tried searching the Chinese Google. Like honestly, I spent about an hour searching Chinese Google to see if I could find anything.
The Communist Party will be coming around to see knock the door. Hello, what's going on here? Re-education camp about Tala somewhere.
Yeah, it was.
No, that's called Mosney. Sorry, I couldn't resist that.
Yeah, it's very tough to find anything about it. So what I have found is all on the Friends of Bushmills Facebook group, and apparently there's been 3 releases in China. So there was 2 in 2020 and 1 for 2021.
That's the difference in the caps. So there's the white and the gold caps.
There's 2 golds and 1 white. So there was a gold one.
Could we have not got somebody in China to send us a bottle, Marty? No.
Yeah. The problem is, Justin, there's 1.5 billion people in China, and there's only 550 bottles released. It's kind of hard to find any of them.
You need to be a billionaire to get one, I think. But anyway.
Well, apparently they were brought out for very reasonable money, and it was around about 250 euros per bottle.
Yeah.
So if you got one for 250 euro, you'd be laughing.
Do you think anybody that worked for any airlines that were flying stuff in, sort of protective equipment, might have picked one up at the airport, or if you were in the civil service, you might have been able to pick one up?
I don't know.
You know,
because there's no information of where this was actually available, whether it was available for the Chinese whiskey club, if it was for a special group of people. I
heard that it was a Chinese whiskey club, but I don't. I've no.
It would make sense because a lot of the other ones were created for whiskey clubs around the world.
You'd imagine at an airport it would get snapped up fairly quick. You'd have thought, but I thought it was a whiskey club, but I could be totally
curiouser and curiouser. Nice money on that. Have we anything left tonight, Carl, to talk about?
So the last one was the Middleton Very Rare 2009. So this one I just wanted to quickly touch on, which is down to people asking if there's a difference between 75 CL, so the US edition, and the rest of the world edition for 700 mils. So the 2 of these bottles, just from glancing at it, look like they're the exact same bottle, right? One on the left is a 750 mil, and the one on the right is a 700 mil. Now, usually there's not a price discrepancy of so small between the 2. Usually the 750 is a lot less than the 700 mil, because there's a lot more people who have been collecting in Ireland or in Europe that would be on the 700 mil bottle. So the only difference that you can find on these is if you click in, look at the pictures, 750 mil is in it, or in the fact sheet. So it's kind of a word of warning to people who are collecting, who may just click on the bottle and they just see a bottle and they're like, yeah, grand, I want that. Make sure to look at the pictures and the fact sheet.
It's a lesson in the fact that you think you're buying more, but you're actually buying less. That extra 50 mil stands out in a collection.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, it really does, and it can affect the price. I was actually surprised to see this. It's not often that happens, you know.
Yeah, not only it's a difference.
There we go. 2 versions of the 2017 as well. Slight differences in price.
Yeah, that was when they changed over to the new bottle design.
Technically, there's about 6 different 2017s. So I think there's one old version, so it's in the old style box, and then there's 4 or 5 different versions of the new box. One has a black outer label, and one has a different, like it has like a wooden stopper at the bottom to hold the bottle up. So it's actually a different size box. So yeah, it'd drive you mad going
Yeah,
to get
one of those ones that at some point someday I'll talk, oh, I want to get one of those and pick up all the different versions of it. So you never know, it might be worth picking those up now.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, who knows? This is in the eyes of the collectors. I just had my eye on a bottle, and I want to just say this because I think there's some people get a little bit strange that old bottles doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be worth an absolute fortune of money. I was surprised there was a Redbreast, 1930s Redbreast, which sold, which didn't do the same as the Redbreast had done the month before. It didn't skyrocket.
That was the one on whiskey.auction, is it?
No, it's the one that Anthony was selling in the blue bottle, which I thought would have been a total unicorn. Didn't take off.
No.
There was a Andrew Watts bottle, which that's something that appeals to me. I like those kind of bottles, but I think whenever I didn't even reach $2,000, I didn't meet the reserve, and I think that's probably a reflection of what people find collectible. You know, a 1940s bottle from a closed distillery is not going to make the same as a highly attractive ongoing collection from something that's continuing, where people can build up a huge collection. You know,
yeah, you're dead right.
Yeah. So
there's Anthony Shea is saying he would be more impressed if someone had a 750ml collection. I think it's rare to have that collection.
Anthony's 100% right. And should anyone have it and they want to get rid of it, please contact Anthony at Irish Whiskey Auctions.com.
Would anybody have a 750ml full collection? That would be. He's funny enough. He said that.
I mean, I totally agree. Like, if you really look at it, 750ml is supposed to be the real collection. Was 1984 to 1990, or 1989. We're all 750. There's no 700ml version.
Oh my God, Carl! Carl's just going to swap the market around here. People are going to pay more for the 750s. Everybody's going.
I don't know. Should we do the detox this week, or shall we leave it for another week, Marty?
Well, it's not going to be on next week, Justin. So we're doing it now. Take it out the road.
We'll do it now. Carl, stay with us if you want, or you can go if you've got to see the girlfriend.
Sure. I have my own detox in Teeling.
If you're on, I thought you had to run to the off license across the road in the next 2 minutes before it closed, but you won't be doing that, so don't worry. All right. Listen, I'll let you stay there, Carl, if you want. What's this first one, Marty?
Right, Justin. Before we go any further, I've been on a detox all week, right? And this is what's happened. This week, I've been on a detox. I've had no red meat, no salt, no sugar, no tea, no coffee, no booze, nothing. I haven't even started smoking again or none of that. No, right? So I've stopped all of this all week. I normally, years and years ago, I used to do the dry January because you get so much booze over the Christmas period that you just say, right, enough's enough, and just took a month off from drinking. I haven't really done, certainly not over the last couple of years, because the whole world's been so utterly depressing in the last couple of years. It's you need something to cheer you up. But it's never a bad thing to take a bit of a break from drinking. If you're drinking too much or whatever, you do end up getting that palate fatigue. If you're drinking fairly regularly every night, or and I'm not talking about drinking a huge amount, I'm talking about having a couple of drinks every night. If you're wanting to try and pick out sort of the subtleties of whiskies, it's always good to sort of have a full reset and just say, that's it, I'm not drinking anything. And it does your body the world of good too, just having that wee break. This week, for example, as I say, I drink tea all the time. I'm a tea drinker. But for some reason, in the last few days, I've been craving coffee. I don't drink a huge amount of coffee, but for some reason, I'd really, really, really like a drink of coffee. So, if you're detoxing, good on you. If you want to take a break, always good. And if you can't take a break, you really need to go and have a word with somebody. So we're going to have an alcohol-free beer. Now, this is not a normal thing for me. So we've got a wee alcohol-free beer here, because Justin, it's very cold here, and I need a very cold beer to keep me nice and warm.
Oh boy, you rub it in. Rub it in. Some of them alcohol-free
cold.
beers are all right. Some of them are terrible. Carl, have you tried the alcohol-free Guinness? What do you think of it, Carl?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I thought it was quite nice. More coffee than
It's
normal.
okay.
Yes.
It's all right.
It's fine. Like for an alcohol-free beer, it was fine.
We'll put it
I
this:
didn't
if you had to drink it, you'd be all right. You know, you're not.
Yeah.
It's not going. It's not sick.
I think they should have
What?
called it something different. It's awful. But anyway,
Well, the thing is, there's actually now a market for alcohol-free spirits. This is an alcohol-free, non-alcoholic spirits. This is an American malt by Lyre's Company. So I haven't tried any of this. Now, this is. Hang on, I have to get the thingy bobber right.
okay.
Look at that lovely colour. It doesn't say there's no colour in it right now. Oh, hang on. Stabilizers, natural flavouring, citric acid, preservative, sodium sorbate, caramel, sugar syrup. So there's colour in it. Yep.
Is it called Lyres for a laugh, or is it called Lyres because?
Well, it's Lyre as in the instrument, musical, like hero play. Right, Justin. It's got 0 fat, 0 sugar, 0 trans fat, 1% sodium, 2% sugar. So very thing. So it's all pretty healthy stuff. You know, it's not like Coke. And
there's Mark Kerr says is spirits, not false advertising, implies alcohol. I said they should have called it Ghost.
Because it's spirits who drink it, yeah.
On the nose, it kind of has a bit of a weird smell, if I'm totally honest. But that might just be the neck pour. And don't never judge the thing by the first. So here we go.
Zero flavor. Let me see.
Wee glass of beer. That's actually all right. That zero Heineken is not the worst I've ever tasted.
All right. Okay.
This is a very sort of mouldy toffee smell to it.
Do you know how they make it? How they make the non-alcoholic free spirit? Because with the likes of beer, you know, they evaporate the alcohol out of it, and you're left with like the actual beer.
Bloody hell! If anybody ever tries to convince you that this is a mock spirit, it's not. It tastes like caramel cordial, which I've never had. It's a very, very, very weird, watery. It's got no mouthfeel at all. There's no heat to it. Oh, that's bloody awful. No, that's not good.
All right.
Well, I'll bring you something of that, Justin. Don't you panic about that.
All right.
There are some alternatives. Whistle Pig, this Kentucky 74, Celtic Soul, White Mackay brought out a White Mackay Light. There's one from Sweden called Nista, Gnista. That whiskey one, if you go back, what picture there, Justin? That's actually from Spain. No, back too far. That one. That's been out for about 20 years now. So, I mean, it's been on the go for quite a period of time.
Are these things cheap? Linda Cox is asking, are these things cheap?
This was, I think, about €28 or $28. So probably talking 20 odd quid. If anyone ever tries to tell you that this is being passed off as some sort of alcoholic spirit, they are badly mistaken. It's not. The interesting one here is the Whistle Pig. The Whistle Pig is an aged spirit, and what they've done, which is really quite ingenious in some ways, it's the Whistle Pig, Piggy's Back, Devil's Slide, Piggy's Back, Devil's Half Sand, and Piggy's Back, Full Sand. They distilled the spirit, aged it for 6 years, and then undistilled it. Now, I imagine what they've done with that is essentially run it through the still, chucked away the alcohol, and kept what's left. I would have thought was probably the way they've done this, at a very slow sort of rate. The proceeds of this, by the way, go to charity. They are going to, what's the name of the charity? The United States for Servers charity, to help people who serve in the service industry. So probably a better concept, but they've all sold out. They're $50 a bottle, so they're not cheap. Whenever you consider, you put in your taxes on your alcohol, We start at the start of the show. Minimum alcohol pricing. There's no minimum alcohol pricing ever going to be in any of these because there's no alcohol in them. So yeah, this is craft homages to the intensity, balance, and beauty of time-tested classics. No, it doesn't. It actually says the word vegan on it. I didn't notice this. It says, hang on, it says, out here we have a saying, some days you eat the bear, some days the bear eats you, but not me, I'm a vegan. I didn't notice the vegan thing when I picked it up, otherwise I probably wouldn't have done. So here we go. How do you know a vegan when you meet one? Because they tell you.
Oh boy.
Maybe put some water in this to cut it down.
Yeah. Shall we say good night, Marty? Shall we?
I never thought I would say this, but I'm going to go on the alcohol-free beer rather than that, because at least there's some taste to this. Listen, guys, take care of yourselves.
Good night, everybody.
Cheers.